Home. It's where you build your legacy, where traditions are started, seeds are planted, meals are shared, and stories are told. We are Chris and Natalie Carpenter, owners of Story Real Estate, and our team of top agents helps people find homes in Moscow, Idaho, and around the country.
Have you thought about a move? Contact us to get connected with a top agent who shares your values and puts your family first. Or reach out to us about our Moscow relocation guide.
Wherever you're looking to go, we can help you find home. Call us at Story Real Estate or visit us at storyrealestate.com and start building your legacy.
Are all of our stories about wizards, superheroes, and space battles just childish entertainment? Or is it possible that there's a reason that these heroic stories of good versus evil are so attractive? Is it possible that what some call fantasy is actually a glimpse into reality? Epic stories that pull back the curtain and help us understand how God's world really is. The project of Reforming Nerddom is to answer these questions by exploring different elements of nerd culture, whether it's comics or video games or movies or books. And yes, we're Christians, so we're doing it from an unapologetically Christian perspective. We want to help Christians engage the world rightly by discovering what is true, good, and beautiful in these stories of courage, sacrifice, and redemption. This doesn't mean that there isn't plenty of ugliness and wickedness in nerddom that needs to be thrown onto the burn pile, but together we want to explore our favorite tales from Star Wars to Lord of the Rings and honor Christ by seeing how they reflect the true story, the greatest story ever told.
One of my favorite jams, Christmas Advent jams.
It hits.
Yeah, it really does. Hey, y'all, welcome to CrossPolitic.
I want some
Merry
Hannah's
Christmas
Messiah
on the Fight Laugh Feast Network. If you haven't gotten your Christmas magazine yet, make sure it should be in the mail. It's already in the mail. We got it after you actually, I think is what happened. There's 24 days of Advent in the magazine. We'll also be releasing a digital copy here probably next week. And so you guys can check that out. I've been going through it with my family at night, and it's been a lot of fun because it's a different pastor and a different take on Advent every day, and really enjoyable and everything. Speaking of Advent. Okay, speaking of Advent.
Is Christmas presents?
This is a fam that sent us a Christmas present. And I'm gonna read this. This is just real short. And you guys, while I'm reading it, it's a game. They sent us a game that the dad of the family invented. They said it's a nice kind of short, fun game. Ozone. And here's what they say. Merry Christmas and Happy New Year, Gabe, David, and Toby. I wanted to show my appreciation for all your work with CrossPolitic and for all the content through the Fight Laugh Feast Network. I became a Christian in 2020. Look at God.
Whoa.
I became a Christian in 2020.
Wow.
Through all the COVID nonsense, your network has been invaluable to me, shaping my growth as a new believer. My husband is on board, and my husband is a board and card game designer, and occasionally we self-publish some of his work. Please enjoy one of these newest games. This is Ozone. It's perfect for family and friends of all ages, since it's simple to learn. It may be just a little game, but it packs a lot of fun. I hope it blesses you and your family. May God bless. And so you can go to Mike Petty, Petty, Mike, MikePetty, games, GAMES.com.
MikePettyGames.com.
Yeah, MikePettyGames.com. Check it out. So we'll have to play with it. There's dice there, so you can gamble. No, I'm just kidding.
Yes. That's what I was thinking about.
It's really fun.
Super nice.
I can't wait to try this out with the family. We'll be the judges if this is a good game or not. We'll let you know.
Thanks for the
Thank you very much.
Merry Christmas to y'all.
Yeah.
Today's culture shifts like sand, but New St. Andrews College is established on Christ, the immovable rock. The college is a premier institution that forges evangelical leaders who don't fear or hate the world. Guided by God's word, equipped with the genius of classical liberal arts and God-honoring wisdom, with a faculty dedicated to academic rigor and to God's kingdom, New St. Andrews College offers an education that frees people. Logic and language, hard work and joyful courage, old books and godly professors. New St. Andrews College provides time-tested resources that can equip your student for any vocation. To find out more, visit nsa.edu today. That's nsa.edu. Are you looking to give your child a well-rounded education while also ensuring positive socialization? I don't know about positive socialization. Is this Classical Conversations? Who wrote this?
Yes.
Come on.
AI wrote it.
Come on. You want a good classical Christian education. I'm not going to read that. I'm kidding.
Okay.
Led by trained licensed directors, families learn through Classical Conversations, proven Christ-centered curriculum together in a community. With locations in all 50 states and over 50 countries, there is bound to be a community near you. Check out Classical Conversations. The key thing you need to know is that the CEO used to play rugby.
Yeah.
That's all you need to know.
Yeah.
He's a dude.
I mean, that's what you want to know. And I just saw a picture of him earlier. He's on his way down to Mar-a-Lago to hang out with Trump.
Yeah. So I guess
Is he really?
Actually, I got a couple friends going down to Mar-a-Lago.
ClassicalConversations.com/FLF. That tells them that we sent you there. ClassicalConversations.com/FLF.
How about them apples? So before us right now, this is kind of a funny time of year to actually be talking about this, but SCOTUS has a number of cases before them this time right now, this time of year. And this year.
That's how they celebrate Advent. They're like, Jesus is coming.
Yep.
Let's get stuff right.
We don't know if male and female is true.
we need to bring some justice.
Yeah. And so you remember Matt Walsh last year led the charge in Tennessee. I think he led a lot of the charge.
Oh, yeah.
I think you can put it probably almost fully on his shoulders.
I think so.
Yeah.
That he got a bill, working with some legislators locally, he got a bill passed through the Tennessee legislator.
Well, that was running on the back end of him exposing all that stuff in Texas.
Mm-hmm.
Remember, there was that hospital in Texas.
Was it Vanderbilt too?
I don't know, but
I think it was Vanderbilt. I think it was more Vanderbilt than Texas.
So
that was going on.
But there was a children's hospital in Texas that had, but there was also a big scandal there because Texas had passed a law saying you can't do this anymore, and it turned out they were still doing that. Yes. They were still chopping up kids.
But Vanderbilt is what I think really got Matt riled up in what was going on there. So he got this bill working with some legislators passed, and now the Tennessee circuit said it wasn't constitutional, so they appealed. So it got passed, and then it got challenged, and then Tennessee circuit appealed it and
Supreme Court
and announced to the Supreme Court. And so the arguments are happening right before Supreme Court, literally today. And if you're listening to the show in a couple of days, today is Wednesday. Is that what it is?
Today is Wednesday.
Today's Wednesday,
December 4th.
We're live. Who's listening in a couple of days? I guess podcast.
Yeah, podcast.
Okay.
And then so I want Matt's actually at a rally today, and we got a couple minutes of him talking kind of about what this is about for the leftists involved in this. So let's roll Matt's clip.
First of all, there's no such thing as a trans kid.
Facts.
That doesn't exist. Those kids are not trans. They are confused, and their confusion has been exploited by quacks and abusers. They are abuse victims. They are not trans kids. Second, the law in Tennessee isn't banning kids from doing anything. It's banning doctors from causing permanent damage to kids.
Oof.
This is a ban targeting doctors and parents who are abusive and who are themselves targeting children. So what the trans activists, what the people over there are actually claiming is not that kids have a right to be castrated, but that doctors have the right to castrate them. They are fighting for the right of adults to abuse and harm and mutilate and permanently damage and destroy children. That's what all those people over there are fighting for. It's disgusting. It's evil. Now, third, finally, with all that said, I actually agree with the premise, sort of. This case is about the rights of children. It's about the right of a child to be protected from the gender butchers. That's what it's about. Children have the constitutional right, the human right, the God-given right to live and grow and learn about themselves and the world without being indoctrinated and exploited by people who reject the fundamental realities of existence. Children have a right to go through phases, to have moments of confusion and discomfort in their own bodies, just like every generation of children before them, without that confusion being seized upon as a pretense to do irreparable harm to their bodies. So to the trans activists over there claiming that this is all about the rights of children. I say again, yes, you're right, it is. They have a right to be protected from you. Children have a right to be protected from all of those people over there who want to harm them and damage them and destroy them. And they will be. They are going to lose. They are losing right now. We are not going to let them harm our children. This case is just the beginning of the fight. It is not the end. We are not going to rest until every child is protected, until trans ideology is entirely erased from the earth. That's what we're fighting for, and we will not stop until we achieve it. Thank you.
Now, one of the things that me and Knox and our limited research, reading through the SCOTUS blog on this and everything, it seemed to me that neither side is really bringing up what is a human.
No, it doesn't seem that that's the conversation.
Which is like the foundational, because the leftists are saying, they're claiming like, oh, a man can become a woman. Our side is arguing, and so you're discriminating based off sex. You aren't letting a man become a woman. You're discriminating. That's what the Tennessee bill's doing. Well, our side's kind of arguing, well, it's not discriminating on sex because it applies to both male and female. So it's a medical, we're prohibiting this medical procedure for children. Right. But at the same time, it seems to me that the bigger question that needs to be answered is, well, what is it?
What is it?
Yeah, what is a human?
No.
And our side doesn't seem to want to challenge that question in the Supreme Court.
Well, I think because
of course, the leftists deny that already, reject it already.
Well, we kind of given up on the idea of
arguing from fundamental truths.
Well, no, I think so. I was thinking about this while Matt was talking. As he keeps talking about protecting children, I'm thinking about abortion and how so many of children aren't protected.
Yeah, what is a human?
And so,
again?
Yeah, and so then we've already lost the identity marker of a human being. And we're trying to get it back through the other side, and it's like, I don't know if we're going to get it that way. I'm not saying we don't need to fight that battle. I think we do. But the fundamental battle is the metaphysical realities of a human being. Yeah. And then all human beings deserve to be protected because they're made in the image of God.
Right.
And if you don't fight for that on ground level, and Matt's pro-life, so I know he gets it, but then we're losing the connection pieces for everybody to make the logical conclusion all the way down to the bottom. Mm-hmm. Right. And so it's like, oh man, it's going to be really hard to talk about what a human's intended end is supposed to be if we don't deal with the fundamental reality of what a human even is.
Yeah. Right. It's almost like God is, he's doing this over and over again, but he's serving up questions and requiring our culture to answer them.
But we've refused
right.
to.
Well, that's the thing.
But even the conservatives in the SCOTUS ruling on abortion on Roe didn't push the fundamental question.
But you've got these questions being asked, and those who hate God have answers. The answers they're giving is we can be whatever we want. A human is whatever we want. Yeah. We can make our own future. We can make ourselves whatever we want to be. And we've seen where that means the murder of unborn babies. That means the mutilation of healthy children.
Yes.
And
selling the body parts of them.
And so we're kind of like running up. It's God forcing conservatives and Christians to have to run. We say, whoa, no, we don't like that answer.
Yeah.
We don't like that. It's a terrible answer. It's destroying human lives. But in order to give the full answer, if you just say, well, we just don't like those medical procedures.
Right.
Well,
who cares? You don't like chocolate ice cream.
Yeah. Why?
I like vanilla.
Why not?
Yeah, right.
Why not? And it's like they're going to keep pressing the question until we say, well, because God said.
Yeah.
Because
that's right.
Because God made us, and Matt, to his great credit, is saying that, and
he believes that.
He's saying that. But the question would be: is Tennessee arguing that?
Yeah.
Is Tennessee actually insisting? No, the reason is because God made the world a certain way.
Yeah.
We did not make ourselves; He made us. And so that defines what a woman is.
You got something to say?
No, I was thinking about this. Kind of reminded me the same kind of argument around discrimination came up again in 2014 around gay marriage. And it was the idea that the law was discriminating against these people being able to be married. And we're like, no, it's not. It's actually not discriminating. Yeah. Nobody gets to do this.
Except for male and female.
We're saying you are made in the image. Well, we didn't actually say it like this, but our argument, I think, on the Christian side was, listen, you're a human being. You're a man, you're a woman. Men are supposed to love women. Women are supposed to love men. That's how it's supposed to work. And so we're not discriminating. We're just saying this is the absolute way that God made the world.
Yeah.
And so discrimination would actually be to grant you to be able to do this.
Yeah.
Now we're creating some sort of new category that doesn't exist.
Yeah. I think the language of discrimination has gotten us in trouble.
Yeah, I agree. I absolutely agree.
I really think that's a Trojan horse that's been infiltrated. And
that's true.
Everybody's bought the lie that discrimination is bad, but they've never actually believed that.
I have no problem with discrimination. Personally.
Right. You heard it here.
I have no problem with it.
Yeah,
I discriminate all the time.
But it's a fact that you can't function in this world. So the people, the LGBT, the woke, DEI, jihad, the whole thing.
Yeah.
In the name of being against discrimination, has never once actually believed that they can function without discrimination.
Right.
They don't believe that.
They discriminate all the time.
They are discriminating all the time against Christians, against heterosexuals,
conservatives,
against
whatever.
the patriarchy, and again whatever.
Yeah.
Like it's an absolute sham and scam that we've believed. That that's discriminating. Yes, it's just like we believe in discrimination.
Yeah.
The only question is it righteous or unrighteous discrimination? Okay. There is unrighteous discrimination.
Yeah, that's right.
There is a way
There's good
of showing
or wicked
showing partiality and favoritism in a fleshly way,
like Biden, maybe
carnal way, pardoning his own son. Yeah, but you can't function without discriminating.
Yeah,
are we going to put this here or there?
Yes.
Are we going to drive this fast or that fast? Oh, wait, you're discriminating against me.
Yeah.
I mean, what's wrong with me going 90 in a 20?
Yeah.
What's wrong with me driving fast in a school zone?
Yeah.
Well, you're going to discriminate? Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, we're going to discriminate. Yeah. Everybody believes in discrimination. The question is which one is righteous, which gets us back to by what standard?
All right. So here's one of the leftist lawyers, and she's on, I think, MSNBC talking about kind of their argument in this case. So listen to her.
I would say is nobody has to provide this medication to adolescents. These are not doctors being forced to.
What?
Hey, I'm going to tell you guys, we might have to watch this clip a few times. I just want to apologize because I can't get past
I didn't hear anything she said. I didn't hear anything she said.
It's really a her.
Right.
And
we can
obviously
tell.
On testosterone.
We can tell.
And you can hear it in her voice.
The testosterone has not gotten to the voice yet.
It just got to the facial hair and the eyebrows.
I feel insulted right now.
Yeah.
As a man,
right.
I'm very insulted.
Very.
Well, here's the thing is like major news outlets are taking this interview seriously.
Gabe, let's be honest. CNN is no longer.
That's true. That is true.
This is like what podcasts were in the early 2000s.
Wait, they were never this bad. They were never. Don't you ever insult podcasts like that?
Can you start over and so we can get?
I have no idea what she said.
Go back, start over.
I'm telling you, I've watched this clip like 5 times already. I still don't know what she's saying.
Lady in the beard.
All right.
Bearded lady.
I would say is nobody has to provide this medication.
Stop.
I told you. I'm not even joking.
Oh my goodness.
I just want to apologize to everybody's watching right now.
It's like a cartoon.
You're going to suffer with us until we figure out what she's trying to say.
Okay, let's work it.
Do you need me to cut your mic for a second?
All right, I'm ready.
Go.
Okay, try again.
I would say is nobody has to provide this medication to adolescents. These are not doctors being forced to provide this medication. These are doctors who are wanting to treat their patients in the best way that they know how based on the best available evidence to us. And these are young people who may have known since they were 2 years old exactly who they are, who suffered for 6-7 years before they had any relief. And what's happening here, it's not the kids who are consenting to this treatment, it's the parents who are consenting to the treatment. And as a parent, I would say when our children are suffering, we are suffering. And these are parents who love their children, who are listening to the advice of their doctors, of the mainstream medical community, and doing what's right for their kids, and the state of Tennessee has displaced their judgment.
This is so idea of I can't remember who we had on was it a couple weeks ago talking about the idea of words, reclaiming the 10 words that will transform America. And he talked about love. Scott, right? I was trying to remember his last name.
Scott Allen.
Yes,
thank you.
There we go.
Get that book. It was really good because he talked about this. He talked about they use this word love. But again, love has a foundation. It's touching something. And so if you loved your child, you want to see their intended end come to fruition. That's part of your job as a parent. It's part of your job as the priestly duties and the kingly duties and the fatherly duties that you have is to bring your children up so that they come to their intended end. Whenever your love fights against the natural direction of their growth, that is no longer love.
Right.
that is no longer caring for your child. So then whatever love you have for your kid has now been completely distorted.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's not caring for them anymore. And then it becomes child abuse. So now they're bringing up a whole nother point. We have parents who are actively abusing their kids because they're not training them up the way that they're supposed to go to bring them to their intended end. They're bad kings. They're bad priests. They're bad parents.
Yeah.
This is child abuse.
Yeah.
Right.
This is not, and doctors, first of all, I think it is forcing if a child comes into the doctor's office and says, I want puberty blockers so that I can become a female, right? And the doctor says no. Do you think that doctor is not going to get sued?
Right.
Come on.
Well, if this bill stands, not in Tennessee.
Right. And yeah, let's hope so. But if that's where they're going with this.
Yeah.
It will force doctors to do exactly the abusive things that the parents and the child are trying to do to themselves.
Mm-hmm. Right. They're suffering.
They're suffering.
I mean, the bearded lady just said that.
Yes.
They're suffering. They knew who they were since they were 2. First.
Well, and I'm thinking here, just in like our Christian circles, like how are we already compromising on this with our own kids?
Well, I was going to say, go ahead.
I was going to talk about spanking.
Yeah.
I mean, because back to your point about love.
Yeah.
I mean, it says that.
Oh, that's good.
It says that a parent who refuses to use the rod,
hates his child.
hates
That's right.
his son.
Yeah.
Right? Refuses to love him. It says that you're not to despise the chastening of the Lord because he chastens those he loves. And if you're not chastened, if you're not corrected, if you are not disciplined, then Hebrews says, then you ought to question whether you're even a child.
If you're saved.
You're even of a son.
Right.
Like he says, otherwise you're a bastard. You're illegitimate sons.
An undisciplined kid has no father.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Effectively, de facto.
And what does discipline do?
Discipline directs people to the end that they were created for.
Exactly.
But what's happening is, so sin is taking children into a different direction. They say, I want to throw a fit. I want to do whatever I want to do. I want to make the world according to my whims and my lusts. The 2-year-old, kicking and screaming on the floor in Walmart because I want the toy or I want the chocolate.
Yeah.
And the parent says, I know where that leads. That leads straight to hell.
Yeah.
So I'm going to take you to the bathroom so we can avoid that.
Right. Yeah. I love you too much to allow that to become your end. Allow that to become your future. I love you too much. Yeah. It's just another version of, the kid that says, Mom and Dad, I just believe that I was made to play in the street.
Mm-hmm. Where the cars are.
Where the cars are. I believe I can fly. I believe I can, I'm like,
I believe I can touch the sky. I think about it every night and day.
And they sing to you and everything.
Spread my wings and fly away.
And the parent says, that's very nice, but you may not play in the street.
Right.
No, I love you too. And if the child goes, flapping his wings out towards the street, a faithful parent runs out there and stops them, right? Because the child has a delusion. Yeah. The child is dreaming, and you can't. Matt Walsh makes this point really well in the clip. I mean, it's like these people are confused, sick. They've been lied to. They've been abused. But you don't just give them what they want. Mm-hmm. Like that's good for them.
As you were talking about this, I was thinking they have a cosmological delusion. This isn't just one that's inside of their heart. This is how they see the whole world. Mm-hmm. They really believe up is down is up, in is out. It's all backwards. They think that water is somehow going to be a star and that the sun is going to be the moon and that the moon and fish can be birds. But this is all evolution, right? It's all evolve. Eventually, I just need to evolve. I just need enough power so that I can evolve into the thing that I want to be.
Well, it all was something else at one point, according to their founding myth, their creation myth, which is why this is why 6-day creation matters.
Yeah. Exactly.
And, even the Christians that say, "Well, I believe in theistic evolution." I believe that God used millions of years and pushed these species into different kinds of species, all the rest of it, and he was the one that turned the turtle into the giraffe. He's the one that made the pond scum into a human being. Yeah, like no, you didn't make it better.
Right.
All you did was baptize your evolution. Yeah. All you did was try to make evolution sound holy.
Yeah.
Like God did it. Oh, so if God did that, over millions of years, millions of species died out through pain and suffering and mutation.
Yeah.
Why can't God bless
and a lot
the mutilation of children in order to try to experiment on them. And
we're just being like God.
Exactly. It's like I almost prefer the atheistic evolutionists who aren't at least putting that at the foot of God.
Yeah.
And they're just saying there is no God. It's
random.
delusional, but at least it's random and accidental. Whereas the Christian evolutionists, the theistic evolutionists, are trying to say that pain and suffering and death over millions of years was blessed by God.
So here's another thought I had about this too. I was just thinking about kind of like my own prayer life over my family and how you can kind of sometimes just pray an androgynous prayer to God about your children.
You pray androgynous prayers.
Well, in the sense that like you just say, God, please take care of my kids today, that kind of thing. But like pray specifically for your male child. Pray specifically for your female
your sons and daughters.
Your sons and daughters in a way that cuts with the grain of how God wants you to raise them.
Right.
As opposed to just kind of being vague about your prayers with God.
That's true.
And I'm just thinking, just like, okay, where are some steps that might get me thinking in a way that's kind of maybe transing our world out there?
That's really good. That's really good. That's really good, Gabe. I'm sorry I made fun of your androgynous person. But you're absolutely right though, because from jump, I always tell parents, like, you need to be, as soon as you know you have a boy or a girl, you have your assignment has now been shaped.
Yeah,
that's right.
You're never merely raising a gender neutral child.
That's right.
You're raising a son or a daughter.
God's told you what their intended end is supposed to be.
Exactly. As soon as you know that, though, that shapes how you parent them.
Yeah.
And yes, are there things that are roughly the same across the? Do they both need food? Do they both need water? Do they both
got to do chores?
Yeah, whatever. Yeah, sure. But it's shaped by the glory that God has assigned.
That's right. Mm-hmm.
God's assigned he's given particular gifts in a son or a daughter.
Yeah.
A particular glory in a son or a daughter that they're made for.
Yeah.
And that has to shape already the moment they're born. Like this is a little man.
Yeah.
A man who's made to be strong and take responsibility and lead and sacrifice and marry and be a father and a husband. And this is a daughter. Her glory is her beauty, and she makes beautiful things, and she makes houses, and she glorifies everything around her.
Yeah.
Like that shapes then how you talk to them, how you talk about them, how you teach them, how you discipline them, all of it.
And how you love them. And all that.
Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely.
So there's one other clip I actually want to show you guys from this. Is
it please not?
No, it's not. It's not that. It's not.
Not a bearded woman, please.
There's a bunch of clips that have come out from the SCOTUS arguing back and forth with the lawyers on this. And this is, I believe he's on our side, Matthew Rice. He's actually the Tennessee Solicitor General arguing against the SCOTUS. And here's what he has to say. And then was it Sotomayor that responded in this clip?
I don't know if it was her or not.
Okay, go ahead and roll.
Oh, yeah, I think you might be right. Yes.
Eliminate the risk of detransitioners. So it becomes a pure exercise of weighing benefits versus risk. And the question of how many minors have to have their bodies irreparably harmed for unproven benefits is one that is best left.
I'm sorry, counselor. Every medical treatment has a risk. Even taking aspirin. There is always going to be a percentage of the population under any medical treatment that's going to suffer a harm. So the question in my mind is not, do policymakers decide whether one person's life is more valuable than the millions of others who get relief from this treatment? The question is, can you stop one sex from the other?
I want to point out here, and actually I want to start with your discrimination comments.
Right.
Both sides want to discriminate.
Right.
Christians want to discriminate. The leftists want to discriminate. And where this law goes is we brought up that the doctor right now, if the Tennessee law passes, the doctor can't get sued. But if the Tennessee law doesn't stand, then a doctor could theoretically get sued if he doesn't want to help transition a kid.
In that sense, he's causing harm by not helping them go to their intended end.
And California will take your kids away from you right now.
Right.
If you tell your kids that they can't transition.
Yeah, so much for the parental responsibility stuff.
Talk about discrimination.
Right.
Talk about no matter what you think as a parent. Right now, they've been bringing up parents.
Right.
You remember that chick being interviewed on CNN?
Yeah, the bearded chick.
Yeah, she said, this is about parents deciding on the kids.
Oh, yeah.
It's like, no, that's not even true. They'll actually take your kids away from you in California right now.
Right. Oh, yeah, only as it's convenient.
Yeah.
Only as it's convenient.
Yeah.
Only as it adds to the argument.
Yeah, but this is why you can't even begin to lend to the possibility of this evil. Because the possibility of this evil, it might come in a door where you think, okay, this is the libertarian argument in our debates, going on. It's like, hey, as long as it doesn't harm me.
Right.
And that was kind of a little bit of the classical liberal argument for decades. And then now we're in a situation where, and this is why either your nation's going to be Christian, it's either inevitable that's going to go that route, or it's going to be inevitable to go down this liberal, fascist, Marxist will require you to do what we say.
Well, and you got to remember, as a biblicist, sin always harms the nation.
Yeah. Right.
God's law was set up very clearly that if there was a dead body in between places and nobody even knew about it, and it was found, the closest town to that body was responsible to get justice for what had happened.
That's right.
Right? Because otherwise, God was going to judge everybody and say, all right, it's on all y'all because justice wasn't done here. The lack of justice done, if somebody's being harmed here, then we better figure it out because God's going to judge us based off of if we let it go or we make wrong judgments. You don't get a neutral ground here where it doesn't harm us. No, it absolutely does harm you in every way.
And it's not just, the argument is, hey, stay out of my bedroom. But actually, God judges nations based on what's going on in their hearts. So it's not even like God's going to judge you on what's going on in your bedroom that you don't want public. It's actually God's going to judge you on what's going on in your hearts. Romans 1 is like, you refuse to give me thanks.
Yeah.
Like that's where the judgment began.
Well, it comes all the way out into society.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Because you refuse to give thanks, all these judgments happen down the road.
But I was still, we might have to play this clip again because did it sound like the judge said that anybody gets hurt, aspirin,
there's always harm.
Can we play that again? There's always harm.
Yeah.
Play that clip again because I just can't believe that was an argument.
Right. It was.
Not eliminate the risk of detransitioners. So it becomes a pure exercise of weighing benefits versus risk. And the question of how many minors have to have their bodies irreparably harmed for unproven benefits is one that is best left.
I'm sorry, Counselor. Every medical treatment has a risk, even taking aspirin. There is always going to be a percentage of the population under any medical treatment that's going to suffer a harm.
But okay, hold on. Okay.
So the question in my mind is not, do policymakers decide whether one person's life is more valuable than the millions of others who get relief from this treatment? The question is, can you stop one sex from the other?
Yeah.
So would that, if I'm understanding that, then would you have to make a headache something that's good with aspirin? Like headaches have to be, because if they're arguing this is a good. Somebody else is actually, this is a good for them to have transition surgery. Right. And so you don't have the right to stop.
She's arguing that in an analogous way that most people are helped by aspirin and it takes away their headache.
Other people could be harmed by it.
Other people will be harmed by it, but the vast majority are helped by it. And therefore, she's arguing in a similar way, the vast majority of transitioners, what do you call them, trannies, are helped by the surgery or the chemicals. Or
it's better for them than not going through it.
Right.
This completely removes the idea of intended end. What is the person supposed to be? What are they supposed to do?
Well, you remember Dr. Story came on our show and he's like, doctors don't harm.
Right.
That's our job.
This is her presupposition is there is no harm happening.
Yeah.
Well, she's saying there's harm. She's saying, but the good outweighs the bad, is what she's saying.
Right.
But what is the intended end?
Right. She doesn't know.
She doesn't care. That's what because honestly,
is Ketanji Brown Jackson?
Yeah.
Is she on here too?
That was Sotomayor.
No, but is she on here?
She doesn't know what a woman is.
She needs to recuse herself.
She doesn't know what a woman is?
I mean, I don't think she should be allowed to be on this. She just needs to step away and say,
recuse herself.
Recuse herself from the whole situation.
We remember what you said in the hearings, and so we think you should recuse yourself because you don't know what a woman is.
is.
So if you remember when Ketanji Brown was up for nomination to be Supreme Court Justice,
right?
We'll go ahead and bring that clip up, and she was asked,
right?
What does it mean to be? What is a woman? What is a woman? It's the Matt Walsh question. What is a woman? You got that video? Go ahead and play
it. Can you provide a definition for the word woman?
Can I provide a definition?
Mm-hmm. No. Yeah.
I can't. Not in this context.
So
I'm not a biologist.
I'm not a biologist.
I think everybody needs to answer that question before we even have this case.
Yeah.
Well, and she obviously needs to recuse herself because she's not, doesn't have the knowledge.
Every senator that
ability.
voted to confirm her needs to resign.
No, man.
If you're still serving in office, you need to resign. You need to walk around with a clown hat on your. You need a dunce cap on your head every time you walk into the Senate chambers.
And there was conservative
this is
senators that voted for her.
Okay, so Brett Kavanaugh, I was just going through some of this, and this is probably some of the. This is why this bothers me. Brett Kavanaugh, in particular, on Wednesday, the article says that he wanted to allow whether decisions about issues like gender-affirming care, don't even like that word, by the way, for transgender teens might be best left to the democratic process.
That's the libertarianism that Gabe was just talking about.
Is that what we're doing now? Leaving that to the democratic process?
Right. That which means that in California, they can take your kids away.
We voted on it.
Right. If we voted on it and all the votes were in, we counted up, we counted noses, and we said, we can take you. The thing I was going to say a minute ago is the thing that is over all of this, I think, underneath all of this is something that Jeff Schaefer has been pressing hard.
Yes, I was thinking about him. I would love to talk to him about this.
Which is just simply that, and others, but Jeff has been the one locally here at the Hale Institute at New St. Andrews and just writing and just pounding this point. But this is the major battle here is between basically those who believe that the world is a certain way.
Yes.
Yeah, that's right.
And
this goes back to the fundamental question that needs to be.
And those who believe that you can make the world whatever you want.
That's the cosmological understanding of the world. Yep.
That's what if you've heard Knox saying cosmology or cosmological argument, and you think why does he keep speaking in tongues? Why does he keep using big words? Okay, what we're talking about is the nature of the world. And the
of the universe.
Yes, of the universe. And the fundamental question is it fundamentally given? And does it exist in a certain way with a certain shape and a certain trajectory and certain rules and laws that govern it by a maker? Or is it something that is shapeless and formless, essentially, or just complete? It's Play-Doh, that can be constantly shifted and shaped the way you want it to be. That's the fundamental divide between the ideologies here. And libertarianism, unfortunately, even though a lot of libertarians are Christians and a lot of libertarians are better than their philosophy, better than their politics, are fundamentally ceding that.
Right.
They're ceding that argument and saying, well, I just want to be left alone. I think people should just be free to do what they want, so long as it's not harming other people.
That's right.
But what you're not answering the question, the fundamental question that God is pressing, which is, but is the world a certain way?
Yeah, that's right.
Are there certain laws that govern it that are true, even if the majority votes against gravity?
Yes,
yeah, right.
I was just about to go there.
It doesn't matter.
Yes.
Even if the majority votes that says you can take kids away from their children, away from their parents.
Yeah.
You are still stealing. You are still kidnapping.
Yes.
You are still defying the law of God that exists in this world.
Right.
And that's the fundamental divide. And then
it seems like that's what legislators, that should be the fundamental question they're all asked. Because how long have our legislators been ignoring God's world? You know, I mean, we can talk about property taxes. You know, that's theft. That's stealing for this reason.
Right.
There's just everything that touches your question, your point touches everything about our legislative politics.
That's fundamentally, again, back to the question of are we going to have a Christian nation? Are we going to have a Christian people or not? That's the bottom line question is, does our nation have a maker?
Yes.
Does this world, does this land have a maker?
Right.
And if it has a maker, then that means that you have to obey that maker. You have to honor that maker.
Yeah.
And in
the same way that creation does. Right. I mean, that's the thing. I mean, this is as insane as saying gravity decided to wake up this morning and say, I don't want to pull down anymore.
Right.
I decided that I don't want to be gravity anymore. I want to do something. I just want to float.
Right.
I just want to float. It doesn't get to decide that.
Right.
It gets to love the way that God made it and to do the things that God made it to do and to do it every day with joy. right? God made you a man.
Right.
You wake up every morning, you thank God that he made you that way, and you do the things that God just said men are supposed to do, and you do it with joy. Right. God made you a woman. You wake up and you thank the Lord for it, right? This is what you were talking about earlier about they chose not to thank God for his gifts and his blessings, and then he turned them over, right? They went insane.
That's what began to curse our streets.
Right.
Yeah.
But if you believe that if you believe that we got here by evolution, then you believe that pain and suffering are sometimes good.
In order to, that's right.
Right. So it's in terms of like medicine.
Well, and you can eternally transition.
Right. Well, but
keep transition.
But back to her point about suffering and harm.
Yeah.
Like, what is harm? Like Sotomayor needs to be asked that question.
It's faith to get what you want.
What is harm and what is help?
Yes.
To get relief, or what kind of relief?
Yeah.
The rapist feels relief.
Right.
The murderer feels relief. Yeah. Why are you discriminating against them?
This goes back to the pro-life. But
it's like if we don't have a fundamental shape to the universe, a fundamental bedrock to reality, then what is a woman? What is life? What is harm? What is help? Yeah. What is good? What is evil? All these things are, if you don't have that, all of those things are infinitely malleable.
Right. That's right. Everything's in play.
You can say, this will hurt for a little while, but we know what's best for you. We will make this right. We know it hurts for us to take your children away, but you're harming them. And so we know
what's best for you.
We know what's best for you. And what you end up with, though, is might makes right.
Yeah, that's right.
And in a statist country, in a statist government, the people with the biggest guns have the most might.
Yeah.
And that's why, again, back to Jeff Schaefer, his point has been, if we don't have a natural reality, God's world as the fundamental bedrock that trumps everything. It doesn't matter how big your guns are.
Yeah.
If you're going against God, you're wrong.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But if you don't have that fundamental bedrock reality that there are certain things embedded in nature, this is a man, this is a woman, this is marriage, this is human life, this is reality, this is up, this is down, this is good, this is evil, then the one with the biggest gun gets to decide what reality is.
Yeah.
And that's what our statist regime has been attempting to do.
This is what. Go ahead, Gabe.
I was just going to say, here, our country's been rejecting truth, I don't know, for a century and a half, 2 centuries, and slowly over time we rejected it more and more. But this is why this is, I think, a helpful question. Imagine if we were arguing that the state could take your kids away from you if they want to have trans surgery back in the 1950s.
Mm-hmm.
But we've been slipping from truth for a century, 2 centuries, or whatever. We can't imagine the 1950s having this conversation or this going before SCOTUS.
Schaefer makes that case, though.
But in 1963, the Supreme Court ruled that one woman with her doctor could decide to murder her own baby.
That's right.
Completely regardless of what the father.
Yeah.
Right.
But my point is we've been on this slippery slope for
I know.
2 centuries.
Yeah. Right.
Which is why you have to restore those traditional basic biblical foundations if you're going to get out of this.
Yeah, there is reality.
You can't, and I do want laws that protect, but you don't get out of this just with the law. Right. You have to have more than that. I've been really thinking about this. We have to win the arguments. It's like we have to win the hearts of the people in some way with this, so that we don't even have to have the laws at the end of the day. But a law is only going to hold so much before then eventually you're going to get a civil war. You're going to get something. You have to have more than that in order to be able to really fix this problem. And Jeff has been talking about this for a long time. I recommend everybody go and just YouTube Jeff Schaefer. He works through this whole thing where it started at how we got here.
CrossPolitic and Jeff Schaefer.
Yeah, absolutely. But he really makes the argument that it starts back when we started separating husbands and wives from each other
and children,
because we destroy the very nature of a child. Because what does it come from? What is the bond that is holding the very nature and essence of that child together?
Right. When you say that children are not essential to the definition of
a marriage. Man. You get this.
You get then that's where you are.
That's right.
You're saying we can make marriage what we want it to be, and then people come shrieking and say, "Well, what about what about barrenness? What about when you can't have babies?"
All these exceptions.
No, of course, but that's not the way it's created to be. That's not natural. It's unnatural.
It's
a
that question recognizes a broken world.
It's a trial, right? But it's not the way God made the world.
Right.
God made the world a certain way, and the possibility of children as a normal part of marriage is what makes a marriage a marriage.
Yeah, that's actually part of what's in this Tennessee law is arguing the fact that if you have a young man, or it doesn't say it like this, but it's basically making the case that, hey, we can use hormone therapy based on a young man who might need to have a treatment because his
testosterone's low or something like that.
Or whatever. He doesn't have the right balance and he's imbalanced, and so we want to give him the treatment. And they're basically saying, why do you get to do that?
Right.
And we can't use it for how we want to. And the argument is, well, because that's bringing it to its intended end. But that's not the argument that's being made on the foundation of what is a man.
Right.
What is he for? What is his intended end?
Right.
And so they're just saying, well, you use him. Why can't we use him?
Right. Traditional Christian medicine, and medicine has traditionally been Christian, by the way, is based on the idea that there is a fundamental form to reality, to nature. And what we're trying to do is do everything we can to help humans live as humans, as they were intended to.
That's right.
So that we have a definition. Harm is taking them away from that intended end. Help and health is taking them toward that intended end. So a man who's deficient in testosterone and can have something that can help him with that is potentially helping him to be a healthy man. A woman who needs more estrogen, likewise. Braces fix your teeth. A hearing aid helps you hear better. You
don't cut your ears off.
Right. No, we can repair. We can replace your hip or your knees that go bad. We're putting you back the way you were intended to be made. But that implies that we know what you were intended to be.
Yeah.
And that's only possible in a world that's given, a world that's actually fixed by its maker. Are we doing
Advent psalm? This is a psalm?
Beer and psalm?
We got eggnog and whiskey and
Advent
rum.
carols.
Yeah.
It doesn't roll off the tongue quite the same way, but beer and Advent carol.
That's good, bro.
I'm not for the eggnog.
That's not beer.
It's a good mix.
That's not beer.
But that's what we have for today. Eggnog and whiskey.
Eggnog and whiskey.
Yeah, so if you want some, I can mix them for you.
No. I'll do a little bit of whiskey.
Okay.
How about a little bit of whiskey?
I'm just going to hold on to the coffee.
Pretty good stuff. You don't
Just coffee. What do we got?
Well, I did coffee before, so I'm doing a downer now.
Okay. Double barrel bourbon whiskey.
That's good.
Okay. Rebecca Creek. I think we had some of this the other day.
Yeah, we did.
Okay.
You liked it.
This is Lo He Comes.
Someone says Kahlua and Psalms.
There we go.
Would you hand me some of that, Rebecca?
I'll hand you some, Rebecca.
So this is Lo He Comes. Actually, we have it in our Cantus.
Yeah. Lo He comes with clouds descending, once for helpless sinners slain. Thousand saints attending, swell the triumph of his train. Alleluia, alleluia, alleluia. God appears on earth to reign. Every eye shall now behold him, robed in dreadful majesty. Those who set it not and sold him, pierced and nailed him to the tree. Deeply wailing, shall the true Messiah see. Every island, sea, and mountain, heaven and earth shall flee away, and all who hate him must, confounded, hear the trump proclaim the day. Come to judgment, come to judgment, come to judgment, come away. Now redemption, long expected, see in solemn pomp appear. All his saints by man rejected, now shall meet him in the air. Alleluia, alleluia, alleluia. See the day of God appear. Last verse. Yea, amen. Let all adore thee, high on thine eternal throne. Savior, take the power and glory. Claim the kingdom for thine own. Oh, come quickly. Oh, come quickly. Oh, come quickly. Alleluia. Come, Lord, come.
Come on, Jesus.
One of the great themes of Advent is the coming of the Lord Jesus. Advent means coming or arrival. And so we rightly celebrate the coming of the Lord in his incarnation. Christmas is what we're getting ready to celebrate, his first coming. And my script just went, whoop. It's gone.
It went bye-bye.
There it is. Okay, came back. We celebrate that first coming, his incarnation at Christmas, as well as his promised return, his second coming at the end of history. And the two comings really are related. Christ's first coming at Christmas is the guarantee that all things will be put right. Just as the Old Testament saints waited for the Messiah to come, we wait for the Messiah to come again. We have the advantage of knowing Christ as the Messiah. We know the one whom we await. The Old Testament saints knew only through types and shadows. They only knew through sacrifices and symbols and prophecies. But what they only saw in shadows, we see in clarity. We know the one whom we await. We wait for Jesus Christ to come and judge the living and the dead. So Advent underlines the time we always live in, the time between the Advents, the time between the first and second coming of Christ. That's That's where we live. We live between the comings of Christ. But this hymn really underscores the tenor of our waiting. In some traditions, Advent is sort of penitential season, almost pretending that we are still in exile, still under God's judgment, waiting for deliverance. Now, there is a sense in which we do not yet see all things under Christ's feet, and so we can sing, O come, Emmanuel, ransom captive Israel that mourns in lonely exile here. I'm not boycotting O come, Emmanuel.
I was going to say, because we're going to fight.
But this hymn underscores the vindication of the second coming. I mean, listen to those words about him coming in pomp and triumph and everybody seeing him and everybody knowing that he's the king. When Christ comes, he comes with all his angels, with all the saints that have gone before. Everyone will see him and everyone will know, and all the lies will vanish in an instant. So how do we wait? We wait eagerly. We wait knowing that when he comes, it will be the great revealing. It will be the great vindication, the great parade, the great wedding feast of the Lamb. So how do you wait for that? How do you wait like that? Well, by singing lots of joyful hymns and psalms and carols, by decorating your house with lights and trees and presents and stockings, by giving gifts, by feasting with your family and friends, and by giving extra to those in need. The King is coming, and we are, of course, celebrating his first coming. But his first coming is the down payment of his final coming. And between now and then, we're getting everything ready for the king. And so we're practicing. Think about decorating and celebrating Christmas as practicing for the king to come again. How do we get everything ready? Well, let every heart prepare him room, and heaven and nature sing. So that means we need to have our houses ready, our families ready, our children ready, our schools and businesses ready, and our churches and cities and nations ready. Do we want a Christian nation? Well, one way to answer that question is, do we want our nation ready for the coming of the king? If you don't want a Christian city or nation, you're saying you don't want your city or your nation to be ready for the coming of the king. But Advent says we want to be ready. We're waiting for the coming of the king, and so we're getting everything ready.
That's good, Pastor. You know, while you were talking, not to upstage you here, but David Fowler, I'm going to give you something to read. He's watching. We tried to call him earlier because David Fowler's down there in Tennessee. And so I just want you to read what he wrote.
Can we read that right now?
Yeah. Talking about this whole situation.
Okay. Hopefully we all understand. You all know David Fowler is our friend, attorney.
He's got a show on the network.
In Nashville, yeah. Okay. Hopefully we all understand that by conceding not only that adults could do trans medicine and democracy would decide if that was a mistake, and by conceding that other states can allow the mutilation of children, the entirety of a biblical cosmology, there's that word again, in which sex and gender are coterminous and immutable and directed towards fertility, was repudiated by Skrmetti's office. Okay, was that the dude that we listened to?
So.
Seems to me we accepted the premise of gender theory and simply said, but you can't apply or affirm it to yourself until you've reached the adulthood. Yeah. The goal was merely to stop a bad thing in Tennessee, not to try to reconstruct the good thing that led to transgenderism.
And I think we need to do both of those.
Yeah.
We need to do both. We need to stop and we need to get back some ground.
Right. That's
because
making the exact same
king
point.
is coming.
That's right.
And we want to have everything ready for him.
He's coming, and we're going to answer.
Yes.
That's right.
Right?
Yeah.
Like, this is his world. He bought it.
Yep.
He died. He rose again. He sits at the Father's right hand, and he's coming.
That's right. And we want to have everything ready for its intended end to praise him properly.
That's what Christmas is about. That's
Amen.
right.
Amen. If you're single, get married. If you're married, have you some kids. And if you have kids, go baptize them. Until tomorrow, love God with all your heart, soul, mind, and strength. Love your neighbor as yourself. Go fight, laugh, and feast. This is CrossPolitic.
Armored Republic's mission is to equip free men with the tools of liberty to protect their God-given rights. With that goal in mind, we've created a new product identification framework to make the world of body armor easier to understand for both the new customer and the experienced professional alike. To help you quickly identify the right armor for your needs, we now have 4 categories of armor products, each named after the material used as the strike faces of that line. Our S Series, A Series, P Series, and our C Series. For example, our S Series armor features products with a soft strike face, the functional surface of the armor that handles the initial impact from a projectile. All S Series soft body armor products are made using ballistic fabrics, such as aramids like Kevlar. Soft armor is typically the only type of armor that's flexible. It's also the best choice for concealment under normal clothes. Hard armor plates with higher protection ratings capable of stopping rifle rounds are usually heavier and bulkier. If you're looking for increased protection above and beyond what soft armor offers, we have 3 series of hard armor inserts. A series armor is made from our unique blends of metal alloys. Among these are the classic rifle-rated steel plates our company is known for, which have enabled hundreds of thousands of Americans to acquire high-quality armor at an affordable price. While often heavy, metal alloys exhibit many positive properties, including multi-hit capability, edge-to-edge protection, and the least backface deformation, where the impact of a round causes the side closest to the wearer to bulge inwards. At Armored Republic, we are constantly working to innovate the alloy armor industry, developing new strategies to reduce the weight of metal alloy armor while retaining its excellent protective qualities. P-Series armor is constructed from polyethylene, or PE for short. These are lightweight plates consisting of many compressed layers of high-strength polymers capable of stopping bullets with minimal fragmentation risk. Light enough to float, P-Series armor is strong enough to stop all handgun rounds as well as many rifle rounds. However, they tend to be more expensive and can exhibit some of the most severe backface deformation. The strike faces in our C-Series armor are made of ceramic, the hardest midweight material used in body armor construction. While monolithic ceramic armor cannot withstand multiple hits due to its brittle composition, it's the only armor material capable of stopping an armor-piercing .30 caliber round. Due to their rigid construction, all of our hard armor series A, P, and C plates also provide effective slash and stab protection from edged weapons. Not all body armor is equal. Each material has its own characteristics that are important to understand when selecting your life-saving equipment. Our new series names highlight the 4 materials that we use to produce body armor products here in our Phoenix, Arizona facility, so that you can make a more informed decision about which type is best for your unique considerations. Within each series, our armor inserts will be numbered to indicate the relative performance characteristics of each plate inside that category. For example, our A1 plate is an entry-level alloy armor product, while our A2 plate is still alloy but with improved capabilities or features. When you shop online for body armor at armoredrepublic.com, you'll be able to use these new series names to intuitively sort through our many product offerings and locate the armor that best fits your needs.